I moved into the old cottage on Thornwood Lane in early October, drawn by the low rent and the promise of solitude. The landlord warned me of its quirks. Pipes that groaned at night. I shrugged it off. I was writing my first novel and needed peace. On my first evening, I found a porcelain doll perched on a dusty shelf in the corner of the living room. She wore a faded blue dress and had a painted-on smile. I tucked her away in a box and told myself that was that. That night, I woke just after midnight to the sound of soft tapping. At first I thought it was rain on the windowsill, but the taps grew louder, deliberate. I sat up, heart thudding, and saw the doll and eyes glinting in the moonlight. She was on my desk now, staring at me. I had moved her. Fear clutched me, but I was too stunned to scream. Then a voice, childlike, timid, whispered, "Don't leave me." I jolted upright and switched on the lamp. The doll sat motionless, her smile still intact. My pulse raced as I crossed the room and grabbed her off the desk. I hurled her back into the box and slammed the lid. The tapping stopped. My hands shook as I piled books on top. I told myself I'd been dreaming, that the doll was just an old toy with cracked paint. The next day, I struggled to focus on my manuscript. Every creak in the floorboards made me flinch. Around noon, I found a note slipped under my door. "Why did you hide me?" The handwriting was shaky, as if written by a child. My throat went dry. I backed away and fumbled for my phone, but the screen flickered and died. When it sprang back to life 5 seconds later, the note had vanished. That evening, I drove into town and bought supplies, candles, fresh batteries, a tape recorder. I returned just before sunset, determined to catch whatever was haunting me. I set the recorder in the living room, pointed at the dolly shelf, and pressed Rekka. I whispered into the darkness, "Arka, or yourself." I left the lights on and went to bed, the recorder beside my pillow. The tape clicked on its own. I sat up, blood pounding. Through bleary eyes I watched as the bedroom door creaked open. A small figure padded into the room and into the glow of my lamp. The doll in blue dress fluttered as if it were alive. It raised a tiny arm, too human for porcelain, and tapped on the recorder. I froze as the dolly head turned, eyes locking onto mine. The next morning, I rushed to my computer and played the recording. My stomach turned to ice. At first there was static, then a voice, soft and childlike. "Dong." Then a second voice, deeper, hollow. "You mine now." I felt bile rise in my throat. I packed a bag, leaving the doll behind in its box. I told the landlord I had to leave for family reasons. He nodded and handed me a key deposit slip, and I shoved it into my pocket. He didn't ask questions. I checked into a motel, miles from Thornwood Lane. That night, the recorder sat on the nightstand. Against my better judgment, I hit. There was only silence, until I heard it, a slow, deliberate pacing across the room. My heart thundered. I bolted upright and turned on the lamp. On the bed beside me lay a single porcelain foot, white and shiny, the same shade as the dolly. My breath caught. I heard tapping on the window. I dared not look. I fled the next morning, leaving the recorder, the bag, and that single porcelain foot behind as I drove away. I glanced in the rear-view mirror. On the empty motel pillow sat the doll, her head cocked to one side, watching me go.